and there is a push now at all levels to make sure that we can shore up this supply in what is now becoming really a crisis.
Hello and welcome to CEO Insights. I'm Marilyn de Guzman from Investing News Network. Today we are talking about lithium, a critical mineral that has been getting a lot of momentum in recent years, and sharing his perspective on how we can develop a domestic supply chain for this critical mineral is Steve Hanson, President and CEO of ACME Lithium. Hello, Steve.
Hi, Marilyn. Good to see you today.
Yeah, good to see you too. So give us an overview of ACME Lithium and how you see your company contributing to the movement to develop a lithium domestic supply chain.
Well, great to be here today. Again, my name is Steve Hanson. I'm President and CEO of ACME Lithium, also the founder of the company. And we are a North American lithium company. We're an explorer and developer with multiple projects in Canada and the United States. We're a relatively new company, but we've been very busy the last couple of years. I'm proud to say that we have a world-class group of projects that we're actively exploring and developing. We have a brine project in Clayton Valley, Nevada, and then next door we have a clay and hard rock project at Fish Lake Valley, and then we have a group of projects in southeastern Manitoba, and now we're the largest landholder in northern Saskatchewan for prospective pegmatites. So we're very busy. It's been a great first start of the year in January, and we're looking forward to developing these projects and having key catalysts ahead here in 2023.
That's great to hear. So there's certainly a lot of projects that are happening in North America in the lithium space. So but the top lithium producers currently in the world are outside of North America. Why do you think there has not been a big push until recently to boost lithium production in this part of the world?
Well, what some people may not know is that most of the lithium is currently produced in only 4 countries. Chile, Argentina, Australia, and China, and the rest of the world really has been behind when it comes to critical minerals. And the push really now is on, obviously, to reduce carbon emissions. And now with what's happening within the auto sector and technology sector, where we're seeing the adoption of batteries for use in hybrids, electric vehicles. Obviously, we open our cell phones and laptops every day. Lithium batteries are in power tools. And then grid storage is a really important area for growth. And really, we've been behind in North America in developing these critical resources. The good news is that recognition is finally starting to take place at the federal level, the provincial level, the state level, and even at the municipal level in for a variety of stakeholders. So really that started with the National Blueprint on Lithium that the US government put out in June of 2021, and it really outlined that we are in really a crisis when it comes to critical minerals in the United States, and that we can't rely on foreign jurisdictions for this supply. So the US government has been actively moving to ensure that we have a domestic supply, and obviously they've had the Defense Production Act, the Inflation Act. There's a number of things that have gone in addition to tens of billions of dollars in investment to make sure that we have a domestic supply of lithium. Battery factories are being built in the US. Some already are in production. And then obviously there's a big push from technology and auto manufacturers in the US to make sure that we have these critical minerals, and in particular lithium. And then in Canada, most recently in December, the Canadian government came out with the Canadian Critical Mineral Strategy. And it was a white paper that really outlined, again, the problems that we're facing as a country and the need to make sure that we have security for critical minerals in the country for the benefit of all Canadians. And really there's economic benefit, it'll create jobs, but we have to do this in a sustainable and environmentally friendly way. No impact is impossible. We have to have low impact. We have to use best practices, which is actually, in fact, what Canadians do. We use best practices as a resource sector, and we have to make sure that other stakeholders, including First Nations, and communities are taken care of as we advance these projects. So the good news is that there's a huge push at the federal, provincial, and state level, and a massive amount of capital that's being invested in our sector. And so ACME Lithium's goal here and vision when I founded the company is to be a domestic supplier of lithium. As we grow this incredible business, we want to make sure that we advance our company and our projects in the spirit of partnership with commodity and technology companies from around the world.
Right. So if you could articulate, because we do hear a lot of this, push to create a domestic supply. Could you articulate just what it means to have a domestic supply and why we need a domestic supply of lithium?
Well, currently there's only two places that produce lithium in North America. The one place in the US is in Clayton Valley, Nevada, and it's been producing lithium continuously since 1966. Albemarle is a New York Stock Exchange company and one of the largest suppliers of lithium in the world. They've been producing there. We are their neighbor next door, and we've made a lithium discovery last summer. We actually are in a phase 2 drill program right now. We're doing a test well and a pump test and 3 more exploration holes. So we're active in a region that has a long history of lithium production, and we're advancing that this winter. So we're very proud of the work that we're doing and looking forward to delivering on that news. And in Canada, there's only one place that currently produces lithium, and that's at the Tanco mine in southeastern Manitoba. And we are the largest landholder south of the Tanco mine, and we're actively drilling there as well. So we've got 2 key projects that have a long history of production in North America. And really the key here is that when you think about the auto manufacturers focused in around Detroit and throughout the US, and then the auto manufacturers in the Ontario and Quebec area, battery factories have been built or in the process of being built in those regions to supply those auto manufacturers. In Canada, for example, there was an announcement that a battery factory is going to be built by Stellantis in Western Ontario. And then in around Kingston, there's a battery factory being built. And then there's a number that have been built in the United States. Tesla has a factory in Nevada. Panasonic has a factory as well. And there's been new ones being announced almost every quarter. So the key here is it's all great for us to have EVs and hybrids and have technology in our hands in the way of phones and laptops, but we need these critical minerals to make sure on the upstream side that we have a critical supply. So that whole chain from upstream all the way to downstream is something that needs to be invested in, and that all stakeholders need to be considered here. And again, we're now in good shape. It's recognized by industry, and there is a push now at all levels to make sure that we can shore up this supply in what is now becoming really a crisis. We're in a perpetual deficit globally. That statement's been made by a number of independent parties. We've seen the lithium commodity increase almost 20 times in the last 2 to 3 years because countries around the world are scrambling to find lithium and acquire lithium in size to meet their demands. So it's not just North America where we need a supply. Europe, as well as Asia, is obviously in critical need of lithium as a commodity to drive what is really an energy revolution that's going on. I mean, there's a paradigm shift that's happening, and it's really being driven by the EV and hybrid sector.
Right. Certainly, the environment is, encouraging this type of development. But what, in your view, are the factors that could hinder or are hindering this development? And, where are the gaps and how do we close those gaps?
Well, I think the resource sector has had certainly, a number of groups that have been either protesting or against extraction of minerals. And what we have to look at is that for us to grow our economies, for us to reduce carbon emissions, for us to continue to advance new technologies, we need investment, and we need all stakeholders to get behind it. So the key here is continue to use best practices. To make sure that when permits are given, that environmental studies are done, that all stakeholders are considered. And that's what we do in Canada. I mean, mineral companies and resource companies from Canada have invested over $500 billion globally. We're the number one country in the world to work globally on commodities and resources. So, Canadians know what they're doing around the world, and that's critical. We have a great U.S. team as well that are part of ACME. We've got Canadians and U.S. Americans that work together. And again, the goal here is to ensure that we use best practices, that we look after the environment. And again, no impact is impossible. It's about having low impact here and making sure that we have sustainability and environmental factors looked after. So, but the key here is the issue that has happened in the past has been that it's permitting and this process has typically taken a very, very long time. There's been a lot of red tape to get projects off the ground. And I think now we're seeing, at least in writing and now in speeches being given by government, is that they want to fast track these projects. And that is going to come through investment and come through the human capital as well. We've seen locally in Manitoba, the Minister of Mines has recently added 19 new people to their permitting office. At least that's their intent, is to have 19 new people in their permitting office. They're in the middle of that hiring process. So there are areas where we're seeing advancement at the human capital level to ensure that projects at the exploration level, at the development level, and then ultimately at the production level can move forward in a timely manner. Because the need is there, and we absolutely need to make sure that everyone's behind it, and we can do these things in a timely manner.
You bring up an important point about the investments that the resource sector has been doing in terms of improving its environmental impact. And sometimes that's not being communicated to the broader public, like all the things that you've been doing in terms of improving your environmental footprint.
Well, I mean, I've been in this sector for close to 30 years. I've worked on all 4 continents in a variety of commodities. I worked in mining, also in alternative energy and oil and gas. And, we ensure that we look after all stakeholders and have constant dialogue and communication. And that's the key part of it. In Manitoba, for example, we signed a collaboration agreement this past December with First Nations, with Saugeen First Nation. And part of that is ensuring that we've done archaeological studies, we've looked at the environment, we've done some things to make sure that we employ members of that First Nation, either in contracts or in some of the work that we do. Again, we want to continue to foster those relationships in consultation and move forward in collaboration. And that goes for any of the projects that we have. I believe we have one of the best portfolio of lithium projects in North America. We have 2 projects in Nevada, we have a group of projects in Manitoba, and now in Saskatchewan. And collaboration is key. We need to work with local community, with First Nations, but also with technology partners and with large commodity companies. So we continue to seek those kind of alliances. And we're backed by some of the top institutions in Canada when it comes to critical minerals and lithium. We're very fortunate that we're well financed from some very smart people and people that understand the commodity business and lithium. And so we're advancing our projects aggressively. We have some key milestones coming up here in 2023. The most exciting time to be an investor in a commodity or lithium company is when you're drilling, and we're drilling at 2 projects right now. So it's interesting times at ACME Lithium. We're very proud of what we've accomplished in a short period of time, and there's exciting days ahead for our company.
That's great. And on that note, that concludes our discussions. You've shared some very interesting insights, and certainly many people are, share these views on the importance of having a domestic supply chain for lithium and all the other critical minerals that we need to move forward. Thank you again, Steve, for joining us today.
Great. Appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, everyone, for watching. Join us again next time for another engaging conversation on CEO Insights.